Welcome into the Canuck Arcade, everyone. Today we're going to be going over setting up Retropie on our arcades. Previous video we went through going over how to get Retropie onto our SD card, but what do we do now? Where do we go from this point? Well, I'm going to walk you through the setup on that, and hopefully this will help you set everything up the way you want. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over. Well, let me plug in the arcade or turn it on, and then I will flip the screen over so everyone can see what I can see. All right, hang on one sec. And there we go. All right, so it's going to do some stuff when you first put it in and turn it on. You're going to see all kinds of words and numbers, and it's going to say, well, this screen, and it's going to reboot. Don't worry. All this stuff is supposed to happen. It is all good things. All good things. So once it does this, it's going to reboot like it is now, and then it's going to bring us into Emulation Station. Now, this boot will take a little bit for the first boot. Generally, after this, when you restart your arcade, it shouldn't take as long as it will this time. But it shouldn't take too long here. Now, I'm setting this up just using the console. I don't actually have it plugged into the arcade right now, so I can record things. Makes things a little bit easier on me. But other than that, everything that you're doing will be exactly the same. And if you even don't have an Arconic arcade, but you just have a Pi 4, this will also work for you. You just use a controller, obviously, instead of the arcade joysticks. So this shouldn't be too much longer. There we go. And bam, Emulation Station. So now, once this is booted up, we get our welcome screen. So what we have to do here is we need to set up our controller. Now, it's reading both of our Player 1 and Player 2 joypads, or arcade sticks, arcade joysticks, whatever you'd like to call them. So I usually just do Player 1. I hold down any button, and that's going to register the gamepad. And then we're just going to follow through and set up the buttons just like you would on anything else. Now, use the D-pad as your joystick control, and then we'll skip everything else that we don't need. So, all right, up for up, down for down. You know how to do this. Start, select. I feel like I'm putting in a cheat code. Okay, so when it comes to your buttons, you can really set them up whatever way you find most comfortable. I'll tell you how I set up my buttons. Whether or not you do that's up to you, because they can be all programmed separately in each individual game. Okay, it's just I set them up this way because it's easy for me to remember what buttons what, and you can do the same for whatever setup you'd like. All right, so what I do is I start on the top row left. So on your arcade, that should be the button that's indicated with the L below it. I use that as A, and I go across the line from there. So I start off A, B, and then for X, just to throw you off, bottom row, last button, the one that's marked A, I make that X, and Y, the button directly above it, just like that. And then for right and left, I make the very first button on the bottom row, because it's the left button, and the right, obviously the middle one, the right button. I hope that made sense without seeing the actual buttons, but if you have an arcade, they're labeled, so you'll be able to follow along. Now, we don't have the rest of these buttons, so what we want to do is skip till we hit the hotkey button. So all you do is hold down any of the buttons you've already programmed or the joystick and hold it, and it'll automatically skip to the next one. So we're going to go all the way through these until we get to hotkey, and then we're going to set that as our select. So hurry up and get down here. Now, obviously, if you were setting up a controller, you would go through all the buttons properly that configure to your controller. All right, so for hotkey, we're going to select, and then A button for OK, the one we programmed to A. It'll take a second to load everything, and then it should bring us back to our main screen. Okay, so at this point, there's a couple things we need to do before we can get things going, because there's really not much we can do from here other than go into the configurations. Unlike Batacera or Recall Box, there are no ports or anything pre-installed. We do everything from scratch, which is kind of one of the things I like about Retropie. It isn't quite as user friendly, but I do find you get way more ability. So you're getting rid of a little bit of user friendliness, but you're getting the ability to do more things. For me, that's a win. For you, that may not be. And I will do videos on Batacera and Recall Box in the future, but right now, I have everything set up with Retropie, so I want to try to help people with that first, and then we'll move from there. All right, after running my mouth, let's get to the actual stuff. All right, so first thing we need to do is we need to set up some Wi-Fi. We need to get connected. Now, you can just plug your Ethernet cable into the back of your arcade, and then you don't even have to do this at all because it'll just automatically read it. But I'm going to show you guys what we need to do to set up Wi-Fi, and it's fairly easy. So we want to go down to Retropie setup. Yeah, and past Retropie setup to Wi-Fi, it brings you into the same area I was going to go the long way. Don't listen to me, but listen to me. Just watch. That didn't help, did it? All right, into Wi-Fi we go. So we want to go over to yes. And then I was going to go to here first, but I forgot we can do it through Wi-Fi. We go into interface. Oh, okay. So this is a weird one. So up and down controls what line we're on, but left and right controls whether we hit select or finish. Okay. I hope that made sense. So we need to set up our locations. So let's go down location, and then to the right hit select. I hope that's not too confusing. Okay, so then we want to choose our time zone. Or sorry, land country. It should do the time zone by itself. So again, down to it, press to the left, and then your button to enter. Now we want to go. Actually, I believe it's right there, near the top. I was going to say. So again, you press to the right, highlight OK, and then you enter button. So now we have that set. We should be good to go. You can also set a few other things in here, but we won't go into that in this video because that's going to take way too much time. So now we want to go over to finish, and yes, we want to reboot. And then we're going to go back into the same place. And as you can see, this reboot now, it's not taking as long as it did the first time that we booted it up. I will say, though, the Pi 5 does boot significantly faster than the Pi 4. If you haven't seen the Pi 5 upgrade video, please check that out. It was fun, and I'm very happy with it. So we've got a light gun video coming. I just got the stuff in for that. I'm going to start setting things up and trying to figure out how they all work. But yeah, so something to look forward to in the future. All right, now emulation station, and away we go. Okay, so back down to Wi-Fi. Okay, see, and now all we need to do is connect to our network. So scan for your network. Once you find whichever network is yours, There's like a billion networks around apparently. Mine would be one of these Yos. You simply connect, click on it, put in your information, and away you go. Now I'm going to actually connect via Ethernet, so I don't need to go through this, but I wanted to show you the process. Just simply put in your password and you're good to go. Actually, you know what? I will do it. Just let me pause the video so you can't see it. Ha ha ha. Okay, now that that's done, it'll bring you back to this screen here. And now we're going to be able to see what our IP address is. So if you look at the top there, it shows your IP address. It says current. You're going to want to write that down for the future. It's good to have when we're going to transfer stuff. If you've seen the video on how to transfer USB and over network, the IP address, you can get it also from inside the computer, but you're here now, so why not write it down? So now we're connected to the internet. So we just simply okay. Oh no, sorry, exit. So we wanted to move over. It's going to scan for networks again, but we're going to cancel. There we go. Just want to hit exit. That's going to bring us back into Emulation Station. Okay, so now that we're hooked up to the internet, we do need to download a few things. Now, what I like is that with Retropie, we're able to download emulators and cores. What is on the system isn't what you get, which can be the way it is with other emulators. What you get is all what you get, and you can't add or subtract. Some stuff you can, but I found with Retropie, a lot of stuff I can. So once you've done that, just simply okay to go in. And where we want to go is to manage packages. Now, from this area, you can set up and install all kinds of different stuff, ports, packages. I'll show you as we go through here. So what we kind of want to look at is optional and experimental. Okay, so let's go into optional packages first. Now, as you can see in here, everything that's black are stuff that we can install. These are all different emulators for different systems. If you want to know what emulator you need to download for your specific system, I will leave a link down below that will show you what emulators and cores go with what ROM systems or consoles that you're playing. So we want to scroll down and we want to go to Flycast, LR Flycast. Okay, we're going to hit OK. And then we want to install from pre-completed binary. Okay, yes. This shouldn't take too long. It does depend on your internet connection, but as you can see, it's fairly fast. We're going to go back now, and we want to go back one more time, and we want to go down to experimental packages now. So again, we're going to have all the emulators, and I went right by MAME right here. I'm going to hit that, install again from pre-completed binary, and yes. Now, the MAME emulator that it's downloading will be the most up-to-date version. So you're going to want to make sure you have an up-to-date ROM set, or you're using an up-to-date ROM. And I'll be doing a video about MAME shortly here. It's on the list, so look forward to that. If you are more interested on information on MAME ROMs, then you can join the Facebook group, Canuck Arcade. I have another video on there that I can't put on YouTube. Or I probably shouldn't put on YouTube. I'm not going to because it might get me in trouble. Anyways, but I can do it on Facebook. So if you want to join the group there, you can check out that video, and it has some links and stuff for you to get going. But I'm not sure. This should take, it says another 15 seconds here. 9 seconds, whatever. All right, so once this is done, we will go to the next thing we need to download. And I will also show you a couple bonus things. All right, let me just pause. I'm not sure how much longer this is going to take, and I'll come back when it's done. Okay, so I legitimately hit the pause button and it finished. Okay, so that's good. We're going to go over to back, and then we want to go down, and we're looking for LR MAME this time. And we want just this one. Now, you can download all of them and switch between if you have problems. I find LR MAME and MAME generally take care of most of everything, but you can come in and download all of them if you want. So we're just going to do the same thing. Precompiled binary. Yes. Now, there are things already on here to run stuff, and most of the time it will, especially with the console end of things. But you're able to go in and download more stuff. All right, so I'll pause this, and I will come back when it is done. Or it is done, so forget it. My goodness. Twice I've done that now. All right, so we want to back out of here. And there is, so if we scroll down in here, I'll just show you because we're in here now. We get down to ports. And if you look at the very bottom below the blue square, it'll actually tell you what it is and what the game is, even though because you can't tell by the words. So if you look down, FPS game based, right? So, I mean, you can also download these and play them. I will say you probably want a controller for most of this stuff, though. And if we get past the ports and we go down, we get supplementary programs, right? All kinds of different stuff in here as well. Now, oh, nope, that's not what I wanted. I want back. Okay, so we want to go back up here to optional. And if you go down, it has the same thing. We have all the LR MAME or LR Libret cores, Libris something cores. And we get back into ports again. There's Quake and stuff in here. Cody, if you know what that is. All kinds of different games you can try. But what we want is in the other folder, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So if you are a PC gamer like myself, then you'll probably want to install this as well. We're going to put Steam on here. I must have went right by it and didn't notice. And this will allow us to play some of our fight games on our arcade, which is great because your arcade's not powerful enough to. Really? Am I losing my mind? Oh, I did go right by it again. There it is. Steam link 105. Oops. All right, so we're going to click that. We're going to do the exact same as before. Yes. And I will pause because I do think this takes a little bit longer. Okay, now that that's done, let's back out of there. Okay, so as you see, again, all kinds of stuff that we can also install. And you can go online and search any of them up and it'll tell you all about it. It's pretty easy stuff. All right, let's back out of here. And we're going to go all the way back into emulation station. So go over to exit and out we go. Okay, now once we back out of here, what we want to do at this point is we want to restart emulation station. So we'll just hit start button, scroll down to quit, restart emulation station. Yes. Now after this, we're going to have another section added. And there we go. We have ports. So if we go into ports, now you're going to see Steam Link in here. So to set this up, it's pretty easy. There will be some installing that you'll need to do, and you will need a mouse, okay? So let me grab that, and I will show you how to set up the Steam Link. All right, so I went and installed my keyboard and mouse, and again, you can skip right past here if you don't want to set up Steam, and go right to the next part where we're putting on a game. But this doesn't take too long. Well, it does take a minute, but that's okay. We're going to get into it real quick. So once you have a keyboard and mouse plugged into your USBs, there's a couple things you're going to need to click. But once you've set it up, you don't really need the keyboard or mouse anymore. So it's going to download the rest of the stuff that we need. This whole process shouldn't take very long. Don't worry about the memory size. It's fine. Now it's going to want to install a bunch of stuff, and it's going to ask you to hit yes. This is why we need the keyboard. So you want to hit Y and enter. And I'm not 100%. It's been a minute since I've installed this, so it shouldn't take overly long. Press enter to continue. And continue, enter again. And there we are. See, not very long at all. Now, once we're in here, we'll need the mouse to set up to connect to your Steam. So it's going to scan to see whatever computers are on your network. Beast is my computer. Let me type this in. Nope, that didn't. Why did my 0 not go in? 3, 0, 9, 2. All right, confirm. Bam. Now it'll connect. It's going to do a test. I'm on Wi-Fi, so it might not be overly fast, but it'll definitely be fast enough. Looks like it's not too bad. Now, it says that, and you might have more problem if you're in your cabinet because there's a lot blocking. I've never had a problem, though. I just always just hit cancel. And away you go. So at this point, we can set up our key bindings. We're going to skip this for now. Hang on. I thought I could skip the whole thing, but we'll set it up. So again, A, B, X, Y. I set it up the exact same way as, as I do back. All right, so Y, and then I want to skip these. Oops, backs. Left trigger is left. Want to skip that one. Right. Skip that. And then our D-pad up. I went down. And then our menu button. I always press the select button for that. And then start is obviously start. And I skip the home button because it won't let me dual bind. I don't believe. Hang on. Yeah, it doesn't let you dual bind. So I skip the whole home button. And extra button, skip. And we skip all of these. And there you go. Now you just simply click on there and Steam a go-go, baby. I hope that wasn't too loud for anybody. I couldn't tell. But there we go. And now we're in my Steam library. So to exit, you want to hit your... Oops. I was on a game. You want to hold your select button. Go over to that little power button. Hit that and just stop streaming. And bam, which should bring us back in. And now we have Steam set up. So if you want to exit out of here, just start and select at the same time. And I'll bring us back into Emulation Station. Okay, so we can play games now from our computer, but we can't play games yet on our system. So let me go back and I will transfer a game over, and that's easy peasy. If you don't know how to do that, please check out the video on how to transfer games over to your iconic arcade. Okay, let me transfer game over and then we'll get to that. Okay, let me show you quickly the easiest, well, one of the easier methods to transfer your games over. If you want a full in-depth, please check out the video. But basically, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my networking. You don't even have to go to networking. You just simply click up top. And then what you want to do is put in / and then Retropie. Sorry, my keyboard's not in its normal spot, so I gotta. Oh, there it is right there. So it probably won't pop up for you. If not, just hit Retropie, click on that. There's our Retropie. We're now in our arcade. We want to click on ROMs. Go to arcade because this is where you should put your main games. Grab a game. We got Street Fighter there. We'll throw that in. And then simply switch back to our arcade. Okay, now what we want to do is hit start and go down to quit, and we're going to restart Emulation Station. Now, anytime you put new games or you install a port or something, you want to do this. You got to do this for it to show up on your Emulation Station. So just restart Emulation Station, yes, and then once it restarts, you should be good to go. And there we go. We have our arcade section. So one game available because we put Street Fighter over there. Let's go in. So to play the game, just simply hit on it. And what it's going to do is the first time it's going to ask, okay, all the games in this category, what do you want me to use to play these games in this arcade category? So what we're going to do is we want to go to LR MAME and hit that. And that's what it's going to use for everything. Now we can go in afterwards, and I'll show you quickly in a second how to do that, and change it to other things if the ROM doesn't work with LR MAME. But most stuff should work with this. And there we go. We got Street Fighter up and running. Let's drop in a quarter or two. Hit that start button. And here we are. Okay, I'm not going to start playing and stuff because that's what we're here for. But let me exit out of that. Okay, so it's like that to play. Now, if it didn't run and we needed to change the core, just hit A button while you're in the boot while it's starting like that. And that's going to bring us in here. We just want to go down to select emulator for ROM. So that's for this specific game. And then you just change it to another core like LR MAME or just MAME. And then you would scroll down to launch and hit launch, and it would launch the game. And then from that point forward, it would use whatever you set here as the core it needs to run, not what's default for the whole category. I hope that makes sense. All right, let me cancel out of here. Oh, let me clear that and exit without launching. Okay, so we've got our games on. We can play Steam games. Now we have a little bit of information. We want some images, maybe want to know info about the game. So there's a couple ways you can do this. Now, if you just added a single game and you just want to add and you have a whole bunch of stuff already on your system, all you simply do is go down to edit metadata and scroll all the way to the bottom where it says scrape. You're going to go into scrape. It's going to look through and it'll find whatever the game is. And then you just simply hit your A button, just like that. Go over to save. And now, when you back out, there we go. We got an image and we got the information. Now, if you put a bunch of games on, you don't want to go game for game like that to scrape everything. It'll take you all year. Luckily, all you need to do is hit start and go to scraper, which is very top. And then what you want to do is change this so that it says it's screen scraper. And you want to go down to where it says scrape now. Only missing images. That's up to you. You could do all games or only missing images. Nothing's going to happen for me. Your system, so your categories. So if you have Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, all other game categories, they'll all be listed here too. You just want to make sure there's an X beside it, like that, and it'll scan for the games in those categories. And then back, now you want to change this to off, or else if it has more than one picture of something, it's going to ask you every time, and most things have more than one picture of it, or case. So just hit start. Obviously, it's not going to really do anything because we've already done it, and it's going to scrape your whole game category, everything, all the games you have on there. So you don't have to do them one at a time. But if you add just one game, you know how to do that as well. All right, let's get out of here and back here. So that's pretty much how you set up MAME. We got online. You know where to go to download alternate cores. And if you want to know what cores go with what consoles, I'll leave a link in the description that'll show you that. So if there's any other questions, that's pretty much it. You're ready to go. You have all the information you need to set up your arcade the way that you would like. I will do another video on setting up themes. There's a little bit to that. It doesn't take too long. And you can check that out in the future. It shouldn't be too long before I get it up. On that note, this video has been way longer than I wanted. I hope you hung around. If you did hang out to the end, thank you so much for that. On that note, we are out of here. Have a great day. Again, any questions, comments down below. Feel free to join our Facebook group, Canuck Arcade. Lots of stuff on there as well, and people to help you out. All right, well, we're out of here. Good day, eh?